Alright people, what's up everyone, and welcome to another movie review with your boy GorTheMovieGod, that's me, and I just got out of a theater, or two theaters, because I saw two movies. I got out of a double feature of The Equalizer 2, I don't know why I'm holding one finger up, 2, and the movie I'll be talking about right now, which is Unfriended 2. Dark Web, which of course, if you don't remember, Unfriended came out a few years ago, made a lot of money on a very small budget. I mean, it was all filmed with a computer, so it better have been a fucking small budget. And it was a movie that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I enjoyed. I know a lot of people hated it. I really enjoyed it because I got to see a bunch of horrible pieces of shit white people getting murdered by a vengeful ghost, which used to also be a horrible white person. So I was really enjoying that movie. Well, I really enjoyed it at a point. It took a little while until we got to the point where people were dying. People were shoving their faces in blenders and shoving curling iron in their throat and all that shit. So it took a little while until we got to the good stuff in that movie, but I really enjoyed it when it got to there, when they're playing like Never Have I Ever on Skype with a fucking ghost. It got so ridiculous. I enjoyed it. I really did. So I was kind of looking forward to this one, especially since it was like one of those like surprise screenings a few months ago at some horror convention. They just announced it. They never announced it before. They just showed this movie, Unfriended 2, and nobody knew about it. And I heard it was actually pretty good, but that's also from, you know, early screenings at a festival. So I don't usually believe those because everybody's just happy to see something, you know, especially something that wasn't announced ahead of time for, you know, something that was at least semi-popular like Unfriended. So I don't believe those, but I was still kind of looking forward to it. I thought the trailers looked interesting and fun and goofy, and I was hoping we would get the same thing that we got from the first Unfriended, where it's a bunch of characters I hate getting murdered horribly, and this time it's the dark web. Ooh, bring a flashlight, ooh, scary. But I am happy to, well, part happy and part sad to report that this movie is actually nothing like the first movie. Now, don't get me wrong, it does have the computer stuff where it's all like screen capping the computer and we see the character typing stuff and sometimes he deletes it. We see the thought process of our main character named Matthias, I believe. They call him Matthias, but his on Facebook he has his email as Maddie. Someone call him Maddie. So we follow Maddie, who is a much more likable character than whoever the fuck the main character of the first movie was. It was a girl. I don't remember her name. I don't care. Don't tell me in the comments. So, sorry. I don't like those people. I don't like them. I hate those characters. Everyone. The fat one. I was glad when his ass went into the fucking blender. Oh boy, let me tell you. But I hated all those characters. So immediately we get to know this Matthias character where he finds a laptop at an internet cafe. You immediately see it actually starts up here where he's trying to open up the laptop and he's trying to figure out a password, and he types password, he types login, he types all this obvious shit. He even types in Kofifi, the Donald Trump thing, remember that? So you could tell this was, well, either that was added in like much later after production, or he was wrapped or whatever, or that was actually filmed very recently. I can't tell if the movie was filmed very recently or they just put that in there as a joke later on. But anyway, he's typing all this stuff. He's trying to get into this laptop. He does. He calls his deaf girlfriend, which immediately right there I was already feeling for this character way more, because he's trying to communicate with his deaf girlfriend on Skype, so he's trying to talk very slowly and stuff so she understands him, reading the lips. He's also trying to do sign language, but he's not very good at it. He's even making an app. I forgot what it's called, but he's making an app which I thought was actually a pretty good idea, where it translates whatever he's saying into sign language. I thought that was a really good idea. So he's actually trying to have a life with this girl, and I was like, okay, I kind of like this character. The original characters, immediately we had like a whole thing of this couple, and then we find out, oh, they're cheating on one another or some shit, or the girl was cheating on the guy, and there's a bunch of backstabbing and shit that was happening in that movie, where when we find that out, if you liked any of those characters before, there's no way you did at like a certain point, because they were all detestable humans. Here we actually have likable characters, at least a likable main character. Matthias was, I thought, likable. He made some stupid mistakes, sure, but I didn't hate him immediately like everybody else I hated in Unfriended 1. So right there, a positive, a check mark. I actually liked the main character for the most part. I thought the acting from him was really good. When he has to get really intense and stuff, good stuff. I know he was in the movie Unsane. I think he had a very small role in that, but I don't think I've seen him in anything else, and I think he's really good. So kudos to that guy. I thought he was good. I think everybody was really good. We even get Betsy Gabriel again, who was in Get Out. She was the no. She was also in Upgrade, The Purge. What was the third one? Election Year. She's in it. So you have actually a decent cast and some likable characters. When the friends get on Skype and start talking to Matthias and stuff, it's actually, you know, feels like actual friends talking and stuff. And I mean, they have some mundane, dumbass dialogue for the most part. So don't get me wrong, the script is not very good. But it's still way more enjoyable and way more tolerable than whatever the fuck the characters in the first one were talking about, because I hated them. And whenever they were talking about, I don't know, fucking shoes or some shit. I hated them. Oh, and there was a whole like thing like, we don't like that girl. She's a bitch. And whenever she came in, there would be an argument. I was just like, oh, fuck all these characters. Oh, I can't wait until this ghost kills them. And I can't wait until the ghost fucks off too, because she's horrible too. I hated all the characters in the first one. So when they started dying, I had a good time. But here I actually started liking the characters. So it was like a reverse of the first Unfriended, where I was like enjoying the first, like, I would say hour of the movie, but when characters started dying later on, I was like, oh no. And when they started dying, it wasn't like the first movie where and me saying the characters dying is not a spoiler, because in the trailer, I'm going to tell you right here, in the trailer they spoil pretty much every single character death, which really is shitty. But unlike the first movie, the deaths in this movie aren't really that violent. I mean, there are some violent ones, don't get me wrong, but the first one had like the curling iron in the throat. We got girl drinks bleach, which wasn't that violent, but if you think about it, it sounds bad. But you have the guy, of course, the fat dude shoving his face in the blender, the guy that shoots himself in the face, guy that sticks the friggin' wooden stake in his throat. Here, you don't really have too many violent ones. You have one part where you see like a hole in the head. And it's not even that violent, and it was a little weird, admittedly. It was a very strange visual. But you can't really think, like, someone gets hit by a car at one point, someone falls off a roof, but there's nothing really violent. Like, you could easily put this stuff in a PG-13 movie. So if you were expecting, like, really shocking deaths, especially with the dark web, you don't even really get that. And I actually liked how they represented the dark web in this, because there's a lot of fucked up videos that they do watch, but when it starts getting really violent or really grotesque, they shut it off, because, you know, as a human being, you don't want to see that shit, and they're watching and they're like, nope, turn it off. And it made sense when they turned it off too. I appreciated that, because I didn't want to see that. It's just, I don't want to watch fucking snuff films. Like, I don't care if they're fake snuff films. I don't want to see it, because I'm sure there's a lot of that shit that actually exists on the internet somewhere, and I don't want to know about it, because I ain't sick. All right, I ain't a sick man. Alright, I got better, okay? I don't need this shit. But, alright, so the computer stuff was really cool. I like that they toned it down a little bit, because in the first movie, the main character, who I hated, I know I keep going back to how much I hated the characters in the first one, but the characters in the first one would always do this, or the main character would always do this thing where she's typing something to her boyfriend or someone else or whatever. I think it was just mainly the boyfriend. And she was typing it, and then she'd be like, and then she delete it all, and then type something else, wait a second, delete it. And there's a couple scenes like that in here, but it's not as ridiculously over the top as the first one, where there were so many scenes like that. Also, in the first one, you could tell there was a lot of edits in the Skype footage, the Skype footage. And here, you can definitely tell, like, just out of nowhere, people will jump to a different part of the room, or the camera will move and stuff, which was strange in the first one. And I mean, I got it, don't get me wrong. It was probably hard to film all that stuff, especially trying to do one take, so you had to do multiple takes, really. But in this, you do notice, I noticed it a couple times, but not as much as the first one. I appreciated it in the first one. I thought that was a really good idea. Here, I think they honed it a little bit better. Now I can't wait for that Searching movie that comes out in a few weeks, because that one seems like it's doing it much better, because it seems like that's exactly what that movie is going to be all about. Not that it's going to be a horror movie like Unfriended, but it's trying to do a whole thing where it's like on one computer screen or whatever, which that movie looks like it's actually going to be really great. I've heard it's really great. So anyway, I like the characters. The death scenes, while definitely not as violent as the first one, I actually liked better in this one, because they were, you know, I actually felt it more. There was actually a couple of emotional ones, and we actually get characters that are likable in the sense that, I mean, we don't get to know much about them, so they're kind of types, but we get to know a little bit about them. Like, there's one girl that has a mother who has brain cancer. She just propose to her girlfriend. You have another character who's like an Asian disc jockey. At least I'm assuming so, because she had a DJ table right next to her. You have the smart British guy who's a hacker. You got the conspiracy dude named AJ. He's like, oh, I'm all about conspiracies, man. And then, of course, you have Matthias, and you have his girlfriend who's deaf. So they all have, like, types. They have, like, one characteristic for each one. But I thought they did it well enough where it's an 80-minute movie. You can't expect too much character development, especially when they also have to dive into the dark web stuff and all the horror aspects to it. I thought they did it well. I thought they did it well, and I liked the characters. I didn't love them or anything. It's not like when one died, I was like here, like bawling my eyes out. Oh no, not her, not him. Why it gotta be him? I don't want to spoil anything, even though, like I said, they spoil every death scene that happens in this fucking movie in the trailer. And by the way, I do know there is supposedly something where you can watch a different version of a movie. I'm so confused by this. Okay, so there's supposedly in some select theaters a option to watch a different version of the same movie, except the ending is different. So you can watch one that is ending A and one that is ending B. I have no idea what that's about. I don't know what ending I saw. I saw the one that is I can't even spoil it, but maybe I'll do a spoiler section at the end of this, maybe. But I saw an ending. I don't know if I saw A or B, but I saw an ending. But my theater didn't say, like, this is ending A and this is ending B or whatever. I don't know. Just something to throw out there. I thought that was weird. Any other negatives I have with this movie? I mean, there are plenty. I mean, the mystery itself, while it is engaging, and I thought the computer stuff was well done for the most part, definitely better than the first one. I thought the mystery itself, when they're trying to unravel it and the twists and turns, are definitely silly, but I never thought the movie was, like, insulting our intelligence by being overly silly and ridiculous. Also, the movie tries real hard to make you think, like, this is going to be, like, some supernatural shit. And I don't want to spoil it, but let me just tell you, it's pretty clear, it's clear very early in the film that it is not, okay? So I don't want everybody going into this movie thinking, oh, it's another ghost. It's clear that it isn't, but even though it's clear that it isn't, there are things in this that feel supernatural, so just throwing that out there. No spoilers, just saying. So yeah, the characters are likable. The writing itself isn't great, but it's serviceable for a movie like this. The death scenes aren't really all that violent, but there are some disturbing ones. Don't get me wrong. Like, all the dark web stuff is still disturbing. You just don't see violence. You see people chained up, people about to get acid poured on them. You see some fucked up stuff, but you don't see the not even the after effects. You don't see the violence, I guess. I don't know. And if I had any other negative, I guess characters do some stupid shit at times. Matthias, even though he's a likable character, he does some stupid shit. He stole a laptop. I understand why he did it, but it's still stupid that he did it. And there's other things he does in the film later on that are just like, I think that'll mess it up more than anything else you've done. So you kind of just screwed your friends over there. That's actually one thing I will say that's another positive, is that the first movie, when stuff was going wrong, the friends just started turning on each other, so you can immediately tell they weren't actually friends. Here, even though shit's happening, and it's pretty much this Matthias character's fault, they kind of stick with him, and they actually kind of like try to figure it out, okay? And they're also decent humans, because they see this dark web shit, immediately they're all like, oh, we need to call cops, we gotta make sure some of these people are okay, and stuff. So they're thinking like a real human, so I really gotta give them credit that they made these people actually feel like people. At least more than the first fucking movie, where they're just detestable humans. But yeah, the mystery itself is ridiculous, but it's still engaging. You're with it. It's well paced. It's not too long. It has some real tension to it. I should mention that. There is a lot of tension. There's a lot of twists and turns that some of them are stupid, some of them are fun. For the most part, the movie itself is not great. I'm not going to tell you it is. But I had a good time. I really did. Yeah, it was actually not a bad time at the theaters this time. I thought it was going to be pretty bad, because I heard Equalizer 2 wasn't great, and I heard this wasn't great. But I enjoyed both of them. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a great film, but I enjoyed it. So there you go. If I had to give it a score from my rating system, which is a 0 to a 40, I'd say a 20. I'd say a 26 out of a 40. It's a solid movie, solid horror movie. I'm sure not everybody's going to like it or love it or even think it's okay. I think a lot of people are probably going to hate it. But if anything that I said made it sound like it's sounds decent enough, then go check it out. If you hated the first one because of the main characters being so shitty, or all the characters being so shitty, you might like this one better because the characters are actually more likable. Yeah, so, and the acting's pretty good. The acting is actually pretty solid. That Betsy Gabriel, I really like her. So, not that she's in it that much, but she's been in a lot of fucking movies lately. Oh my god. So yeah, there you go. That's my review for Unfriended Dark Web. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Until next time. Goodbye. Oh, and I guess I did mention that I would do a spoiler thing at the end of this video. Not really much to talk about when it comes to spoilers. The whole thing is leading up to pretty much what the whole movie, the whole first movie was. Because I was checking my time, and it was about an hour into it until people started getting picked off. And in Unfriended 1, it's about like 30 minutes into it when people started getting picked off. So this one took its time to build its atmosphere and tension and stuff. So when it gets to the point where people start dying, you got the first one to go is the Asian DJ girl. She jumps off the roof. Then you have the I'm not sure if this is in order of when it happens, but you have the Betsy Gabriel's character who gets thrown in front of a train. You have lesbian partner girl partnered up with Betsy Gabriel. She gets killed, but before that she has to make a really difficult choice. It's either she had to choose between her cancer mother or Betsy Gabriel's character, and she couldn't pick, so both of them die, and then she gets killed. So that's fucking that was messed up. Then the British dude gets killed. Actually, I missed the AJ guy, the conspiracy guy. That one's probably the most ridiculous one because he gets shot by cops because the dark web sends cops like a tip that he has like drugs and bombs and stuff, so they go to his house, and then the dark web turns up his volume and plays a shotgun blast through his laptop mic, which makes it sound like, I guess it's like a... Oh, actually, they do set that up in the beginning. I take that back. They do set it up and make it make sense why it sounds really loud, because they do mention earlier that he just got a new like sound system, whatever. So I take that back. They actually do make that make sense. So fine. So they play this shotgun blast and the cops open fire on him, even though he's like saying, "I don't have anything, man," and they just get shot up. Who else dies? The British guy gets hung. He's talking shit to the dark web like, "Yeah, that's right, I got all this shit. I got all these tracking info and stuff." And then the dark web comes and just fucking makes it look like he did it. Actually, the whole dark web makes everybody look like they did it. They took some of these people that were killed in the dark web, like, "Oh, this is what we did," or something. So they kind of framed all these people. It was all a big setup to begin with, because when he steals the laptop, he keeps getting messages from this one person saying, "Give me back my laptop." Then it ends up being a whole setup. It's kind of convoluted. I know the way I'm explaining it sounds convoluted, but the whole way they explain it in the movie is convoluted as well. So yeah, people die. Everybody dies at the end. Matthias gets hit by a fucking car. The dark web actually puts up a vote for everybody that's watching. Like, do you want Matthias to live? Yes or no? And everybody says, "No, kill that motherfucker." And then he gets hit by a van. And everybody dies. Even the deaf girlfriend dies. She gets killed in, like, I guess a dark web. I guess they were insinuating that she's going to be another victim in the dark web. Like, she was actually going to get filmed being killed. Everybody else just died. They didn't get filmed. But I think the deaf girlfriend was going to actually be killed, like, in the dark web or some shit. So there you go. Not much to say. That's the ending I got anyway. So tell me if you got ending A or B, or I'm assuming the other ending is just like the opposite. Maybe it's supposed to be like a happy ending, like, oh, they actually got the dark web, or the dark web leaves them alone or some shit. The way I'm saying this makes it sound like it's like an entity or something, when it's just like a group of people. They even at the end like zoom out and you see that everything you've been seeing is actually on the computer screen of the dark web. This, like, it looks like a headquarters for the dark web, and you can see everybody streaming. Like, on the computer, you see, like, people are streaming the dark web and watching this and stuff. Whatever. So, it's a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It's definitely silly. It's definitely not something I'll remember later on, but it's a good time in the theaters. I liked it. So, anyway, there you go. Dark web. That's it. Bye.